You have done this before, built something, and then quietly, deliberately destroyed it. Not by accident, not because you had to, because something inside you, something you cannot name, decided it was time. Psychologists have studied this pattern for over 100 years. They have watched brilliant people destroy careers. Loving people abandon what they built. Survivors, people who overcame everything, find new ways to lose. And what they found is that self-destruction is not a flaw. It is a message, and today we read it. To understand why humans destroy themselves, we have to go back to 1920, Vienna, the aftermath of the First World War. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, was facing a problem he could not solve. His patients, veterans, survivors of the worst war in human history, they had escaped the trenches, but they kept returning, in dreams, in behavior, in the choices they made day after day. Freud had spent decades arguing that humans are driven by one thing, the pursuit of pleasure. But these men weren't avoiding pain. They were seeking it. And that broke his entire theory. So he proposed something radical. He said humans don't have one fundamental drive. We have two. The first, he called eros, the drive toward life, creation, love, survival. The second, he called thanatos, the Greek god of death, a drive that pulls in the opposite direction, toward destruction, toward risk, and in its most complete form, a return to nothingness. Freud wrote, "The aim of all life is death, not as poetry, as a literal description of what he believed lives inside every human being, an unconscious pull, not toward happiness, but toward the release that comes when tension finally reaches zero." And while many psychologists have since rejected the death drive, the behavior it was designed to explain, that no one can deny. Now, think of someone you know, or perhaps yourself, someone who keeps repeating the same painful pattern, the person who always falls for someone unavailable, the one who gets close to a breakthrough and walks away, the high achiever who builds something remarkable, burns it down, and starts again from nothing. Psychology has a name for this: repetition compulsion. Freud first described it in 1920. He noticed that people don't simply remember painful experiences. They repeat them, unconsciously, compulsively, as if following a script written before they were old enough to choose. A landmark study found that adults who consistently self-sabotage share a common thread. Childhood environments where chaos felt normal, where love came with conditions, where trust was regularly broken. Here's the uncomfortable truth those studies revealed. The brain does not seek happiness, it seeks the familiar. And if pain was familiar early enough, if chaos was the environment in which you first learned to exist, then your nervous system will spend the rest of your life recreating it. Not because you want to suffer, but because suffering, at least, is known. The brain would rather return to something painful it has survived before than risk something unknown, even if that unknown might be beautiful. People repeat what hurt them, not once, not twice, until something, or someone, makes them finally see the loop they are trapped inside. Now, here is the part almost no one talks about, because when we see someone self-destruct, we think we know why. We say they were afraid of failure. But what if that's wrong? The most dangerous moment in any pursuit is not when you are losing. It is when you are about to win. Researchers studying self-sabotage identified something they called finish line panic. As success gets closer, real, tangible, within reach. Something in the nervous system fires an alarm, not because success is dangerous, but because success means change. New expectations, new relationships, a new version of yourself you have never had to be before. Psychologists call this the fear of success, and research shows it is more common than the fear of failure, because failure, at least, confirms what the inner voice has been saying all along. But success demands you become someone different. And for many people, especially those whose identity was shaped by struggle, that is the most terrifying thing imaginable. So the brain does what it was designed to do. It protects you. It creates a convenient crisis, a self-inflicted wound, a reason, however irrational, to step back from the edge of everything changing. This is why brilliant people make catastrophic decisions at the peak of their power. This is why someone can spend 20 years building something and destroy it in an afternoon. And this is why, somewhere in your own life, you might recognize a moment when things were going well, and you found a way to make them not. It was not weakness, it was your nervous system doing exactly what it learned to do. So where does this leave us? If self-destruction is wired into our biology, if repetition compulsion pulls us back to what hurt us, if our own nervous system fears growth more than failure, does that mean we are helpless? No, but it means we have to stop misunderstanding what self-destruction actually is. Every self-destructive pattern was once a solution. The child who learned to disappear emotionally, so that no one could use their feelings against them. The teenager who pushed people away before they could be abandoned first. The adult who sabotages success because somewhere they learned that visibility was dangerous. These were not failures of character. They were brilliant adaptations to difficult circumstances. The problem is not that these strategies exist. The problem is that they never received the update, because the circumstances changed. The child grew up. The dangerous environment became safe. The people who once caused harm are no longer present, but the nervous system doesn't know that. It is still running the old software, still protecting against threats that no longer exist, still choosing the familiar pain over the unknown possibility. And this is where Freud, for all his controversy, left us with something genuinely important. What we cannot see, we are compelled to repeat, which means the path forward is not willpower, not discipline, not motivation. It is awareness. The moment you can truly see the pattern, not just intellectually acknowledge it, but feel it, is the moment the compulsion begins to lose its grip. Not immediately, not completely, but enough. We began with a statement. You have done this before, and perhaps you have, but now you know. It was never weakness. It was survival. And survival, once you can finally see it clearly, can become something else.